Hello everyone, greetings to all of you. So today I'm here to talk a little bit about mental health in adolescents and children. But before I talk further, I just wanted to share some statistics with you. So these statistics are only from Malaysia. So it is actually from the Adolescent Mental Health NHMS 2017 survey. So what is NHMS? So NHMS is actually defined as National Health and Morbidity Survey. So usually the government and the Ministry of Health, they carry out these surveys not only for adolescents, for adults as well. They do it usually 4 to 5 years, usually. Yeah, 4 to 5 years once. So just a very quick background. So the population size, that means these findings are from about 30,000 from about 30,500 students aged between 13 to 17 years, and they actually randomly got them from 212 secondary schools from all over Malaysia. So it's a nationwide survey. So let me quickly start with the state of adolescents' mental health in Malaysia. So as you can see in this diagram here, you can see that the findings, and this is again, keep in mind, it's again only among 30,000 students aged between 13 to 17 years. And as of 2019, we have about 1.92 million students aged between that age group going to public schools in Malaysia. So as you can see here, 1 out of 5 are depressed, 2 in 5 show anxiety, and 1 in 10 are stressed. And they used the depression, anxiety, stress questionnaire. So it has 21 questions. So they used this to get the findings. So if you can see the breakdown among the genders, so you can see that 18.9% male students are depressed compared to 17.7% female students, and you can see the rest at your right at the side. So if you can see the graph bar, they have actually given you the statistics for depression, anxiety, and stress, and you can see that it varies across the states. But what we can see here is like all the states are pretty much equally impacted with our adolescents battling with depression, anxiety, and stress. So let's look at the next thing that I want to show you guys: adolescent suicidal behavior. So suicidal behavior includes suicidal ideations, or the plans they make to commit suicide or even attempting suicide. So if you can see here, as for suicidal ideations, girls 10.8% and boys 9.1%. And you can actually see the percentage actually hiked up compared to 2012 to 2017, and now we are in 2021. So you can kind of project it in your mind where we are at now. And suicidal behavior was highest among Form 1 students, as you can see there. So these are kids, 13 to 14-year-old kids. And it was the highest in Kuala Lumpur, 13.2% suicidal ideation. Suicidal plans, that means executing plan to commit suicide, 9.5% highest in Selangor, and 9.3% highest suicidal attempts in Perak. Let's look at the next graph that I want to share with all of you: sex and teens. So if you can see here, among those 13 to 17-year-olds that I was just talking about, 7.3% had already had sex, and that is about 2,300 adolescents, students. And again, this is just among 30,500 students. And you can see here that 35% males had sex before the age of 14. And you can see that 21% male students have multiple sexual partners. And if you can see that graph right there, prevalence of ever having had sex, by forms, as in like the secondary forms. They classified it from Form 1, or they call it removed class for the schools that for the Tamil and Chinese schools. And then Form 2, that is 14 years, Form 3, 15 years, Form 4, 16, and Form 5, 17 years. And you can see the 9.3%, highest among those aged 13 to 14 years old. And Pahang recorded the highest prevalence of ever having sex among adolescents, followed by Kuala Lumpur. So the next that I want to show real quickly, alcohol use among adolescents. So you can see here that among about 1 to 10 students are current drinkers. They're still drinking alcohol. And 6% reported drunkenness, and they had their first alcoholic beverage before the age of 14. And if you can see the breakdown that they've given you, sources of obtaining alcohol, 38% were from their family members. Next, real quickly, teenagers and illicit drugs in Malaysia. So what you can see here is 1 in 25 secondary school students in Malaysia claim to have ever used drugs. That means they have used drugs at least once. And 3.4%, again, only in the midst of 30,500 students, are current drug users. And 17%, have a look at this, 17% initiated drug use at age 7 years or younger. So, yes, another one for you. Bullying, victimization among adolescents in Malaysia. So 1 in 6 adolescents was a recent victim of bullying. 19% males or boys were bullied more than girls, 14%. If you can see the breakdown below, bullying was again experienced most among those in Form 1 and decreased with age. So this indicates that the younger they are, the more prone they are to get bullied because they are younger, more vulnerable, right? And the most common form of bullying was being made fun of because how body or face looks, 16%. And now you can see here physical and verbal abuse at home among teenagers. So 1 in 10 teenagers said that they were physically abused, and 4 in 10 teenagers are verbally abused. Boys suffered more physical abuse and girls suffer more verbal abuse. Kind of predictable. And you can see again the abuse among teenagers by form. And as you can see, verbal abuse tops physical abuse. And we all must note that verbal abuse impacts the mental health, and that leads to suicidal ideations among adolescents, suicidal attempts, attempting suicide, and finally really killing themselves as well. Lastly, that I wanted to share with you, I mean, in terms of statistics here, only 1 in 3, if you can see, only 1 in 3 adolescents perceived that their parents understood their problems. Only 1 in 7 perceived that their parents checked their homework. And less than half of adolescents perceived that their parents knew what they were doing in their free time. And lastly, less than half of adolescents had peer support at school. This means they're not getting the support they need to battle all these things that they're going through. Yes, so what I want to share with all of you in this short sharing is that students are children. They're literally children, and they follow something when they're intrigued by it. And then when they are following something that is not supposed to be followed at that age, or following something in the wrong manner, in the wrong way, they tend to get addicted to it. And it's definitely not their fault, because they are learning from what they're seeing every day, or they're being influenced. And we have to be mindful as counselors, as peers in schools, teachers. I mean, counselors are not the only one who have to be mindful when it comes to children's behaviors or mood differences or changes in mood, or for example, all those things that I pointed out. But also teachers, also peers, they have to be aware how to note something is wrong with their students or their peers. And now parents. I've shared, I think almost a month ago, about this incident that happened in Singapore. It's also happening in Malaysia, but this incident where the student actually purchased an axe online and killed a 13-year-old schoolmate that he doesn't really know this guy, but he killed this boy in the toilet, and he was standing outside with the axe, and he was actually telling students who were passing by to call the cops. And he was actually battling with suicidal ideations at the since the age of 14, and he attempted suicide. He went for brief treatment, but yeah, so that's what happened. And we also have read many cases among adolescents who tragically ended their lives because of being bullied, because of not being trusted for what they're trying to say. For example, a girl who killed herself when she was accused of stealing an iPhone, and so many more. Being abused verbally, body shaming, being, yeah, all those things that I pointed to all of you just now through the statistics that I shared with all of you. Let us be parents, let us be teachers, counselors, tuition teachers, peers. We have to be very, very cautious, and we have to be very, very mindful that they have mental health as well, and they are also battling a lot of issues daily. These statistics that I just pointed out to you, again, is just among 30,500 children. We have 1.92 million children just in that 13 to 17 years old age group. How about those younger? So mental health exists in children, just as how it exists in all of us, adults, elderly people. It exists in everybody. It doesn't see what age you are, what race you are, what gender you are. It doesn't see all that. We are born as humans. We have mental health as much as we have physical health. But this sharing is clearly just to tell you the reality, the truth that is happening in our country, Malaysia, and it's happening everywhere. And again, why I keep saying that it's only among 30,500 kids is because it's just among that small group of adolescents that had the chance to express themselves. We are looking at bigger groups of children from all over the country, from all over the world, who do not have that ability to share yet, and battling silently, harming themselves, trying to think about suicide, thinking about ending their lives. So let us be mindful. Parents, please be cautious. Please be a friend for your kids. Kids these days, they're exposed to many, many things because of internet. So please be their friends, understand them, listen to them when they have something to share. Do not judge them. Do not scold them. Mistakes are just lessons for us in life, for us to be better, understand their pain, and see how you can help them from there. And teachers, counselors, peers in schools, please keep your eyes open, your hearts open to listen to them when they have something to share. And if they're not coming forward to share, ask them, is something bothering them? Because they do indicate that they're battling something through their faces, their mood swings, it changes, how they were before, how they are currently. So small indications like that, capture them and approach them. Even if they're not approaching you, it makes a huge difference. And society, do not judge anyone, not only children, but anyone for the matter. Do not label anybody and do not judge anybody. We have to open up our hearts and minds to help everyone who's battling in silence. Because the moment you start judging and labeling people, you're not going to feel what they're feeling. You're not going to even know what they're going through, because you're already labeling them with something, or you're judging them because they did something. So children are fragile, they're vulnerable. And at this point, I mean during this age, these ages 13 to 17, they're the most vulnerable. And let us be there for them. Let us guide them. Let us listen to them. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.